Thank you for joining Wars of the Roses. And this is the Keystone. Did you find it this way? By Soror Mary Eloise Lavrischeff. An article taken from Rosicrucian Digest, Volume 19, Number 7, August 1941. The Keystone, did you find it this way? By Soror Mary Eloise Lavrischeff. I remember one afternoon when I was a little girl, I had been playing very hard. I came into the house feeling so very tired. I curled up in a big chair in the living room. Sleepily, I sat watching the deepening shadows creep across the rug. I thought it was a beautiful rug. My first memories were associated with the red and blue and yellow of its sprawled patterns. As the daylight faded, I watched the colors also fade. Little by little, they came to a soft gray and mingled with the mist of my dreams. I woke sometime later when my mother came in and snapped on the light. My first thought again was of the rug. I looked at it. The colors had returned. The patterns sprawled again, as vivid and clear as they had in the light of day. Where had they gone? What made them come back? With childish wonder, I had thought that perhaps the sun, like it drew the water up from the ocean, drew the colors too at the end of the day. But then, when Mother turned on the electric light, there they were again, as fresh and clear as ever. I thought of this wonderingly for many months. A few years later, just at the verge of twilight, I was trudging down a dusty road. The shadows fell beside the path. I watched them growing longer and longer with every step I took toward the dropping sun. While I was musing, suddenly a phrase I had come across a few days before entered my mind. Nothing is except as it appears to the eye. Here now, on my walk, I seemed to find a truth in that. For instance, from far away, the tree I was approaching had been just a tumbled blur in the distance. As I approached, it grew more and more distinct. I saw it as a complete pattern of trunk and limbs and leaves. What was the tree really like? I knew that again in the darkness of night the tree would change from a picture of green and brown to another dark-shaped mass, perhaps a silhouette against the moon. It must be true. Things are only as they appear to the eye. As the years passed on, I wondered. Suddenly I came across some diagrams of the refraction of light in the eye. To my immature mind, they all simmered down to the astonishing fact: everything we see is really upside down. For several weeks, this thought haunted me. I would close my eyes and stretch out my hand to the tabletop. I would know that if I opened my eyes, I would see the legs of the table running down. If I passed my hand down over them, I would feel them going down. Yet, according to this latest thought, in reality, they were going up. How puzzling it all was. How relative everything in sight was to our touch. Was space really just in motor memory? Did my muscles always move a certain way, and I associate that movement automatically with direction, as before, I wondered. During these passing years, I also found that I was becoming more and more sensitive to the qualities of sounds. I knew that from earliest memory I was literally thrilled by the notes from bells, from xylophones, marimbas, or pipe organs. Then to those which affected me pleasantly, besides the common distracting rasp of filing and the squeak of chalk on the blackboard, I added the sound of a fork in a glass jar and several other personal effects. I remembered reading about a theory regarding the killing of insects, disintegrating them by sound. I felt that there was certainly the foundation of truth in that, for with these unpleasant sounds I felt if they were continued, I would be disintegrated myself. Another thing I discovered was the communication of sounds to me through solid objects. In church, I noticed it through the pews, or if I was standing next to my father, who sang bass, his notes came through the book I was holding until they actually hurt my fingers. I wondered how this feeling was related to the actual thrills and gooseflesh certain notes or tone qualities produced in me. So I found the world about me was filled with wonders, and still I wondered. I passed from childhood into womanhood. Still the questions followed me. The building blocks of my childish thoughts I had built up, until one day I found the keystone of the arch, the block that held together all the tower of thoughts I had constructed. The answer to all my questions in the one word: vibrations. The wonders of the spectrum unfolded themselves to me. I found that colors are caused by different rates of vibrations. The cells in our eyes respond to these vibrations one way in the presence of light. When light is absent, they register for us only a gray or black. I found that each object has a rate of vibration. We receive these vibrations through our organs of sense, which build up for us pictures of them as occupying space and being placed in direction. It's through our sense organs, after all, that we perceive, and the memory of the responses of our body that builds up the world about us. There is no need to think of direction or how the vibrations do come into our eye. What matter if they are upside down? Our bodies take care of us in reacting to them. They keep us safe and sane. When I came to further study of this cosmic keyboard of vibrations, I found that while colors were manifest in octaves of very high rates of vibrations, lower rates, down to 14 vibrations per second, were those we recognize as sound. Then all things seemed to slip into their proper places. I knew that those qualities which affected me so strongly either harmonized when I found them pleasant, or formed a discord when I thought of disintegration, with the vibrations of my own body. The feelings I felt through the backs of the pews or in the hymn book were vibrations. I was glad they affected me only as slightly as they did when I found that a certain note produced by a violin would shatter a glass to pieces. So at last my wonderings have found a solid base to rest upon, from which they may reach again to higher musings on the cosmic keyboard. My childish arch of questioning thoughts has blended into one harmonious whole, united by this keystone of vibrations. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment, and if you can, please consider donating to Wars of the Roses. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the description. Thank you so very much.